Okay, so this lesson is on graphing parabolas, and mostly in vertex form. This is 8.02, and the first question says, which is the graph of g of x equals negative quantity x plus 3 squared minus 5? So a couple things to remember. This is the general form of a parabola or a quadratic function if it's in vertex form. And this graph already is, it already looks like this. So let's identify the parts of it really quickly. Our a value is your number out in front of the parentheses, so it's actually a -1. There's like a -1 sitting out there. Your h value is this number, but the opposite sign. So you're thinking, right here there's a negative or a 3 sitting right there. Your h value is going to be the opposite of that, so it's going to be a -3. And then the k value gets to stay the same, so you don't change the sign on the k. It's just going to be -5. So from this information, we can figure out the vertex. So it's going to be h comma k, so our h value is -3, k is -5. And the vertex is whether it opens up, it's going to be that bottom, the minimum value, or if it's opening down, it's the maximum value. Okay? And then if your a value is greater than 0, the graph opens up like this, like a U. If it's less than 0, it opens down. Our a value is less than 0. It's a negative number, so it's going to open down. So right away, just from the a value, we can cross off these last two options. It's going to be one of these two, and our vertex will help us narrow that down. If we look at this graph right there, you see this point for the vertex, and so this has to be the graph of the function that is listed right here. Okay, this one says, what quadratic function does the graph represent? So here, what they're really asking you for is to find the equation. So they're wanting you to fill in a, h, and k. You'll leave f of x as f of x and x as x. But a, h, and k, we need to find out what those are. So if we look at the graph, we can plug in some values. So from the vertex, we can find the h and the k. So we can go ahead and rewrite the equation with h and k in there. That's pretty fast and easy. So we'd have x minus our h value, which is +2, and then k is +4. Okay, now that's good. We have h and k. That's great. That was, like I said, fairly fast. You just look at that maximum if it's opening downward, minimum if it's opening upward, and that's your vertex. The thing that we still need is a. To find a, we have a little more work to do. We're going to use this other point to find a. None of these numbers listed here are a. We have to do a little bit of work to find it. This is an x value and this is a y value. So what we're going to do is we're going to remember f of x is really the same as y. So I'm going to replace f of x with my y value in that point, which is 1. And my x value is 5, and what that's going to allow us to do is a then is going to be the only unknown value, and we're going to be able to solve for a. So we just, it's just an algebra problem now. We're going to solve for a. So we're going to do 5 minus 2 first, and then we're going to square that. And then we're going to subtract 4. And I'll just write that as 9a instead of a times 9. And then divide by 9. So this would reduce to -1/3 equals a. And now I have my a, my h, and my k. All I have to do is rewrite my equation with those values in there. And again, just remember, you want to leave f of x as f of x and x as And that would be your final answer. That's the equation of that parabola right there, the quadratic function. Alright, now this one is not in vertex form. It doesn't look like this yet, and we want to get it into this form. So what you want to do is you want to group the first two terms together, the x squared term and the x term. And to group it, all you do is put them in parentheses. Okay? So you just make them look like they're associated together. The other thing that you want to add into that group with them is a blank. So I'm going to write it again, give myself a little more room. I'm going to write x squared plus 2x plus, or well, we'll just even put, well, we could put plus blank. And we're going to put some number there, and then plus 3. Okay? And the number that we want here is a number that's going to make this a perfect square, because if you look at this, if I expand this, what this really means is I have x minus h times another x minus h plus k. So my second step here, once I figure out what that number is going to be to factor this parenthesis into two parentheses. You're going to have the same thing in each if you do it correctly. So we're going to have x blank, x blank, and whatever's in this blank and this blank should be the same. So we want to think of a number where if we have, the same number here is going to add up to 2. So if we do plus 1 and plus 1, notice how if I FOILed this, I'd get my plus 1x, and another plus 1x would give me my plus 2x in the middle there. Now to get the number here, all you do is you multiply these two, because this number is found by multiplying your last terms. So positive 1 and positive 1 make positive 1. Now there's a catch. You have to go back up in here and think, well, what did I do to my equation? Well, I added a 1 in, right, just randomly. So originally I had x squared plus 2x plus 3. Now I have x squared plus 2x plus 3, and I also have another plus 1. So I can't really legally do that. I can't just add in a 1 randomly. I'm changing the equation if I do that. But we can still make it work for us. The trick is that you have to remember to subtract that same amount. So over here I need to subtract 1. So right here what I do, if I put in plus 1 or plus your blank, I automatically put a minus a blank over here. So I don't forget that step because it's easy to forget. And what you've really done then is you've added 0 because plus 1 minus 1 add up to 0, right? So you haven't changed the value of your equation. And so right here, same thing, I need to subtract 1. So it works out nicely because now what I can do is I can rewrite this, and it looks like it's in vertex form, or it is in vertex form, but it looks like we want it to. I have x plus 1 squared because I have 2 of them, so I'm just going to put them together right there as squared. And then out here, you go ahead and combine those, and it's going to give you plus 2. And so your vertex, if you had to find it, you don't. That's not part of this question, but your vertex would be negative 1, 2, and your a value would be 1. There's really a 1 sitting out there. So I hope that helps. Good luck.